Hi everyone and welcome to online Sketchbook Social. I'm Rose Wildsmith and Sketchbook Social. I'm Rose Wildsmith and Sketchbook Social. I'm Rose Wildsmith. I'm getting feedback. Hang on. There we go. Sorry about that. I've just started doing a live stream where I've got my face, so this is all a bit of a new setup for me, so this is quite exciting. So yeah, anyway, welcome to Sketchbook Social. I'm Rose Wildsmith and I hope that you are able to sit down with your sketchbook or your other art project and join me while I do some work. Today I've just got a glass of water because it's quite hot, but yeah, grab a drink and I'll be here for the next hour. So before I start, I thought I would quickly show you some of the things that I've been doing recently. And actually, before I show you, I just wanted to say I read this book recently, like last weekend, and it really helped me because I was feeling a bit blocked. So I recommend that book, it's really good. And one of the things that it made me think is that I need to have a go at doing representational art because I've been quite scared of it. So I decided to have a go at painting a bird. So this was my attempt at a sparrow, and then I did some others. So I've been working, this is my junk journal, and then this is just an ordinary sketchbook. So this was my very first attempt, which was also a sparrow, and then I had a go in my junk journal. So this was my second attempt, and I was really pleased. I was like, oh, all this time I've been totally, full of fear about having a go at drawing and painting birds, but I decided that I'd just go for it, and I was actually really pleased with the result. Then I did an owl, which I was quite pleased with, and then this is a finch. I can't remember great rose finch, I think it's called. And then I tried a gull. The gull was quite hard and I'm not that pleased with it. And then I was really brave and I decided to draw a figure, which was really taking me out of my comfort zone. And then I went back and I did the backgrounds for this owl and this one. But yeah, so that was one thing. And then I decided that this week I would have a go at doing some painting because I've been watching some YouTube artists who like really go for it with the paint. Oh, here's some more birds that I sketched the other day. And I decided to just be a bit more bold, and because I really like artists when they're really loose and expressive, and I was finding that I was being quite inhibited, so I wanted to really loosen up. So I had a go doing this, which I'm not sure this is finished really, but it just kind of helped me to just be quite scribbly. And then I started having a go being really quite painty, because I hadn't really got my paints out for a while. I'm not really sure why, but I decided that I needed to get some paints out and really have a go at splashing paint around in my sketchbook and just go for it and not be, really get over my fear. I don't know what my fear is really, but yeah, the book is really good at explaining that kind of thing. This is another one where I've just started with a background of paint, which I really like. But one of the things I found was, because this is a sketchbook rather than like a watercolour paper sketchbook, and so the pages are quite thin, and when you paint on them they do have a tendency to kind of curl up. So I've also been working in this junk journal, which again the pages can be quite thin. Oh, here's another bird that I tried. Can't remember what kind of bird that is. And so today I went to the art shop and I got a couple of new sketchbooks that are actually, they've got thick paper. So I've got, this is, they're both by Hahnemuller. This is a zigzag book and this is an ordinary sketchbook. So they're brand new and I thought I'd have a go with them today because having the thicker paper means that they can take a lot more wet media and I was finding that I was really enjoying splashing the paint around, but then I was worrying about the paper being too thin. So I thought, if I have something with slightly thicker paper, maybe I can be a bit bolder. So let's take this off. So this is cold press, which I don't usually like, but it's not too textured, which is nice. And what I like about it is that it lays flat, so you don't have to worry about the pages lifting up. So I'm going to have a go with this today, and then there's also this zigzag one which I'll open up. And if you're here and you're working on your project, I'd love it if you could say in the chat what it is that you're working on, so that I don't feel like I'm here all on my own painting away. And if you're watching this on the replay, you're very welcome as well. I know not everyone can make it to the live thing, but the recording's always available. So this is a concertina book, and this is great because you can use it almost like one long big bit of paper. So because I'm going to get really painty and really wet today, I thought I'd have a few different things so I can rotate them and have them drying while I work on something else. So I'm just going to get going. So I've put some of this art guard on my hands so I can get my hands mucky. And then I always like to start with these paints, which I actually mix myself. And I've mixed acrylic paint with a little, I've watered it down a little bit and put medium into it to make it flow nicely. And also I've mixed the colours so they're not just out of the tube, they're actually my own colour. And I've got 3 different colours here which I like to use as my primaries. They're kind of like the colours that you get for like screen printing and stuff. Cyan, magenta, and this is more teal than, you know, it's not, no, this is cyan, but it isn't actually cyan, this is more teal, magenta and yellow. So those are my 3 favourite colours to get started with, and then I've got a whole load of other colours that I picked out so I can just play and have fun. So I'm going to put some of these out. Hi Jay, I see your message come in. Welcome. All right. Well, one of the things I love about these 3 colours is the colours that they make when they mix. So I really like the greens that you get. Look at that, isn't it? Lovely, bright, emeraldy kind of green. And I've really been admiring artists who are really loose recently, so I'm trying to be kind of loose in my application of the paint, and because I just really enjoy being really loose with the paint as well. It's kind of, it's funny because it's a bit of an opposite approach to the representational work that I was doing, which is very kind of measured and careful, and I was carefully mixing the colours to get the right kind of colours. I was working from a bird identification manual. And I think that what I'd like to try is to do these really loose painterly things and then combine it with stuff that's a bit more measured and careful, because I think that the contrast between stuff that's really intricate and stuff that's really loose makes for a really nice overall effect. This is nice, the paper's not curling up at all, so this is obviously a better kind of paper to work on. And usually I would go for a really cheap paper in my sketchbook because then I feel less inhibited about using it. So that's what I've started out with, and I definitely recommend for beginners to start out with a really, like, the cheapest sketchbook that you can find. But something that helps you to feel really free, basically. But I feel like maybe I've got over that fear a little bit now, and so having this sketchbook with the thicker pages, I think I'm a bit more practiced at just going for it and not worrying too much. I quite like having the contrast of the really nice, vibrant, highly saturated areas with some more mixed areas here. And maybe what I'll do is get some other colours, maybe some white, and some carbon black here. I can start to play with the value of the colours. Let's start with a bit of white. Maybe I'll try a different size paintbrush. Oops. Hope you can see my face okay? Yes, good. I've got a slightly bigger paintbrush here now, so hopefully I'll get a bit of a different mark. Quite like just mixing it on the page, it's quite fun. Let's try bringing in some black. Okay, that's a fun and delightful mess, so I'm going to put that to one side while it dries. Everything's going bang and crash, and then I'm going to do something in my zigzag book as well. Going back to my slightly smaller paintbrush. I'm realising as I'm doing this that I have this kind of feeling like I need to fill up the whole page, and I'm wondering where that comes from. It's interesting, doing art does sometimes make you realise things about yourself and your life. So I'm going to challenge myself by leaving this white here because I really want to fill it all up. I want to fill the whole thing with colour, and I know that that is something I do a lot. And see, look, I'm doing it now. I really want to challenge myself and break out of my usual way of doing things. This is so fun because I'm just not really giving two hoots about how it looks. I'm kind of just enjoying just being really loose and ridiculously playful. This is the great thing with the concertina, as you can carry it on. Yeah, I have this desire to fill up the whole page, and I also always have this feeling like I have to use up all the paint. So even though I've only got yellow left now, I've used all the others, I'm like, oh well, but I need to use it up. Why? Why do I feel like that? All these unspoken rules we have. Okay, I'm going to pour out some more colours, and I'm going to do, well, I do like my colours that I mix myself. Oh, I've also got a violet that I mix myself. I'll put some of that out. And this is quinacridone magenta. I'll put some of that out. And then I'm going to go for some more unusual things. We've got this Titan green pale, which I don't think I've ever opened. But it's quite muted, which is not, I usually go for really bright saturated colours, and this is quite different, so it'll be interesting to try it out. And then what else have we got here? Transparent red iron oxide, that would be quite nice, I think. Oops, poured loads of that out. You can see my palette very well. There it is. And then maybe something a bit different. We've got this light green blue shade. This is a bit of a thicker, more of a heavy body paint. And let's just have fun mushing and smushing. Just having a look at the chat, see if anyone is in here with me. Oh yeah, Jay, you're saying you're going to do some mixed media still life. I hope that you're having fun doing that, if that's what you're doing. Sounds... oh, look at this violet. Yeah, I'd quite like to do some still life. I've got a collection of things that I intend to use for still lifes eventually, like vases and things. I'm actually really enjoying this white space that I left, that I challenged myself, so I'm going to try and leave a bit more white space on some of these other pages. This book, this Art and Fear book, it talks a lot about how, you know, there's always this fear that you're going to be found out to be not good enough, not a good enough artist. And so it feels quite vulnerable to be admitting to the fact that I find it difficult to leave white space, because that maybe makes me feel like, oh, am I Does that mean that I'm a very immature, not good artist? And I'm going to make a video soon about how self-esteem interacts with being an artist, because I think it's got so much to do with it. We feel like, you know, that we're always under the constant judgment of others who decide whether your art is good or not good. Oh, I like this green. I really want to fill in that white space, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. Getting to the end of the space I have on the table, so I'm going to put this away to dry. Okay, now those were my two really thick papered books, so this one is going to be a bit different to work in. I started this and I was really enjoying this process. So I used some woodies here, Stabilo woodies, and I really like the contrast of the very bright colours with the muted dark colours here. So I might try and do something similar on this page. Let's see, maybe I'll use a slightly smaller brush. The thing is, in this heat, the paints are drying up so fast. So I'm just sort of mixing, if you can see, I don't want it to be just black, I'm mixing in some other colours just to make it a bit more interesting. That looks good. So maybe I could, inspired by your mixed media still life that you're talking about, Jay, so you might do a little still life with this. What should I draw? Well, I suppose I could draw, just see if I can show you on the camera, these. I've got a jug full of paintbrushes, so I'm going to put that in front of me and I'm going to draw that, paint that rather, very loosely. I'm going to need a bit more water in here because it's drying up so fast. I suppose what I'm trying to do really is block out some areas that can be dark as a contrast to the bright colours in the background. It's actually gone a bit browner than I wanted really, but that's okay. Might add a bit more black into it. Just painting my iPad by accident. I feel like I'm making an absolute mess here, but that is part of the part of the problem when you're trying to be really loose, is that there's a fine line between being an absolute mess and just being joyfully loose, and I don't really know where that line is. Well, I'm going to leave that now, and I'm going to just do some loose marks over here. Maybe I can use some of the shapes that I've seen. I feel like I need a bigger brush. Maybe you can hear in the background, but there's the next door neighbour's playing the piano. It's really nice actually. Okay, so my black has kind of run out here, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of this Titan Green Pale, because I want to bring some light colour into this as well. no idea what I'm doing. I'm just going with the flow, doing what feels good. So now I have this urge to use up all these other colours that I've squirted out, and I'm trying to resist that urge. I think I'm just going to leave this for now. And I'm going to come back to my junk journal, see if I can find a page that's a bit boring. Oh yeah, this one. It's quite nice. But I'll find a new page to have a go at. I've gessoed a few of these pages. Maybe this one. And I'm going to try and do some loose gestural stuff on here with the colours I've got left. In fact, I might use my other hand, my left hand, because I'm right-handed. Oh, there's more harder than you think. This is so much fun. What time is it? Oh, it's 2:30 already. It's been like having so much fun that time is flying. Let's try some of this green. I just realised that my head has been going out of shot. Sorry about that. This whole live streaming thing is a bit of a different new adventure for me, but I'm enjoying it. Oh, I'm really loosening up now. This is great fun. Right. Just gonna do one last thing. Oh, maybe I could try this plasticky stuff and see. So much fun. Okay, I'm going to leave this to dry now, and I'm going to come back to my first one. I think maybe will be dry by now. It's not quite dry, but it has dried quite a bit. And what I thought I'd try is maybe using some stencils. So we've got this, we've got this. These are all commercially available stencils. This one looks like I've hardly used it. Oh, this one looks good. I'll see if I can, so this one it says Yolanda de Conde. And this one it says Matisse, I think. This one doesn't seem to have a name. Yeah, not sure where they all came from. Anyway, I'm gonna have a play. Let's maybe go for this one as the one I wanted to try. Now, I really want to use up those paints, but I'm going to resist the urge. And I'm going to put out some, what's this, Titan Buff. I'm going to mix in a little bit of the transparent red oxide, just to give it a bit of variety. Maybe a bit of the violet. All right. Printing off the stuff that I painted. Made a bit of a mark. It's turned into a kind of terracotta brick kind of colour. What other stencil might we want to use? Let's try a bit of this very fine one. And I'm going to go for this green. My brush has still got some of this one in, so it's going to be desaturated green. I like that. Ooh. I'm absolutely wrecking this brush, by the way. It's become kind of like my scratchy brush, so, but this is a Catalyst Polytip Bristle Bright. Say what size it is, size 6. And it's, I think, my favourite brush. It's the one I always come back to. Okay. I kind of feel like sticking in some collage at this point. I've got this, this is from a Greek newspaper I got when I went to Athens last year. And I just bought a newspaper. I love the text. That there. What have I done with my thing here? I've got acrylic binder. It's Amsterdam acrylic binder. And I love using these. These are also by Catalyst. These little wedges make really good paint spreaders, or I mean glue spreaders. So just stick this down. I feel like I'm getting more and more unhinged with this painting loose sort of thing, but it's great. I feel like I'm unhinged or free. Maybe both. That's good. Maybe put some more collage on the other side. I have no idea what it's talking about. It's probably something really boring about politics or something. But I just think that the alphabet itself is so beautiful. Right. Because the paint wasn't dry, got some of that colour coming in, but that's good. A bit of a happy accident. Okay, what else have we got that I could add to this? Oh, I made these skins the other day. I'll just show you, hang on. So this is actually a piece of tissue paper that I put on a plastic bag and then painted with acrylic medium, and it goes kind of translucent, and then I drew over it with Posca pen, and then I think I put another layer of medium over the top, so it's this kind of translucent acrylic skin, which is really fun to stick over the top of things. So I think I'm going to put some of this on. You can make acrylic skins with just acrylic, but this is quite fun because it's got the tissue paper in. It makes it, it rips like paper. And you can do it with tissue paper that has patterns as well. Now I'm noticing that whenever I'm tearing a piece of collage, I always do the same kind of size and shape. It's really interesting noticing these things. So I might just make it a different size because I don't want to always be doing the same thing. Might use a fresh brush for this actually. So where am I going to put this? Maybe over here. Oh, it feels so good to be getting messy and wild. You can also just stick these in with like an ordinary glue stick, but I don't have one to hand, but that's also quite fun. So I am going to just stick this in. It needs to go across. Yeah, I'll put it in there. Say I'm really pleased with this thicker paper in the sketchbooks that I got today. So I'm looking forward to experimenting more in these sketchbooks. If you're working in a sketchbook, let me know what kind you're working in the comments. I feel like choosing a sketchbook is such a personal thing. It's yeah. There's no one size fits all. It's definitely a case of what works for you. And it's interesting how my tastes have kind of changed over time as well. And although I do love my junk journal, I have to say that I think that it's a little bit tricky how you end up with pages that you love just from how you've pasted them together. I've just released a video yesterday about how to make this junk journal, so if you are interested, go and check that out. But let's find a good example, because I've been forcing myself to paint into, so this is a page that hasn't been touched really. This is how it was when I finished making it, and then I find it quite hard to paint into it because the page itself has already got so much interesting, beautiful stuff on it. So I do really like making these junk journals, but to paint in, I don't know, I'm not sure how I feel about it. Whereas having something that's got a blank page, you know, we talk about blank page syndrome, but I think I've kind of trained myself out of having like fear of the blank page. So these days I actually quite like the blank page. So I'm going to leave that to dry for a minute. How are we doing for time? We've only got 10 minutes left. So what have we got next? This is the concertina, and I think it's not completely dry, so I can't actually close it up, but I could do this, and then I can paint onto some of the following pages, because I'm really enjoying just laying down those first layers today. I feel like different days I feel like doing different things. Like some days I feel like doing stuff that's really intricate and tight. Some days I want to be loose, and other days, oops, my microphone just fell off. Some days I really want to do collage, and other days I really want to do work with paint, and other days I want to work with pen and crayon, and I think it's quite nice to just honour those different desires, depending on why you paint, of course. Now I am using up the paint because why not? It's, doesn't really matter what colours I'm putting down here. Oh, I've got this Titan green pale. This has come back to my trusty brush again, my Catalyst Polytip Bristle Bright size 6. It's the one I always pick up. But I do batter it about, like I don't respect it, so it does take a bit of a hammering. I'm really liking this Titan green pale and how it's adding some lighter values to my setup. I might actually go in and put some of that colour in here. think I've pretty much used up all my paint that I poured out. So I didn't manage to resist that little voice that told me I had to use up all the paint, but never mind. What I might do, we've got 8 minutes left. Might just do a different colour. Let's try something different. I've got some Pyrrole red. And this looks nice, this brilliant blue. I've got this really scratchy brush here, so I kind of want to try that. Let's just give it a go. Oh yeah, like that. It's tricky to make sure that this is always in the frame. But yeah, I'm enjoying this blue. This scratchy brush is great. Let's try some red. Let's mix in with the blue a bit. I feel like with these first layers you can be so free because you don't have anything to lose, whereas I find that I end up tightening up a lot more when I get to later layers, when I actually start to like the thing that I've made, because I'm like, oh, but what if I ruin it? And so I want to have this really loose freedom that I'm having in these first layers. When it comes to later layers, that's my aim. I'm going to put this down. And then what have we got here? I'm not sure how I feel about this one, but maybe I can do something loose and scratchy. I'm sort of ending up being really like aware of what I'm painting over, which I suppose you have to be, but you end up then missing out on some looseness. And you know, and then I go like, oh, but I think I liked it better before. And then you just have to tell yourself that you can always do this, you can always find this again, you can always recreate it, because you did it once, it's easy to do it again. It doesn't matter if you ruin it. What's more important is being able to be free and being able to be loose and being able to develop as an artist. And this is how I feel like I want to develop at the moment, is by loosening up a bit. Oh, maybe I could put some collage on this page. Let's see. In the last few minutes. And then my daughter's coming home from school. I'm gonna go shopping. And so it's so nice to have that little break from your daily grind to just play and have fun doing art. Okay. You can see this is the thinner paper and it's starting to buckle here. So that is the benefit with the thicker paper in the sketchbooks. Not that it really matters, I mean, oops. As long as you don't let it interfere with what you're doing, that's the thing, is that I end up feeling like I want to get rid of anything that sort of makes me feel inhibited, you know? If I'm worrying about the paper buckling, then I'm not going to be loose and free in what I'm painting. So, well, I think we're getting towards the end here. Maybe do one more thing. Just a little one of this translucent stuff. Maybe some stripes. Yeah, let's do stripes. Well, it's 3 o'clock, so I think that brings this live stream to an end. I don't feel like I've really got anything finished to share with you now. I've just kind of played and messed about for an hour, but that's kind of what I wanted to do today. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me and joining in and doing your own thing at the same time. And if you have not come across me before, I do send out other videos on my channel, not just live streams, but I'm going to do these live streams about once a month. So you're very welcome to join them. I do announce them ahead of time if you keep an eye out. And that's it from me. I think I'm going to head off now and make sure that I'm all tidied up before my daughter gets home from school. So thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.